Chelsea, are you on? I've reason to suspect that the PS2 update will be dropping shortly, and I'm positively quivering with excitement. I'm willing to bet you share my enthusiasm to some degree.
Oh, hey! Greetings! Yeah, I'm super stoked about it too. I've told you this before, but I've always appreciated the comics from a writer's standpoint. I don't know how, but I feel like reading PS2 is molding me into a better author in some strange way. Anyway, what do you think is gonna go down during the big update?
Oh gosh, I can't say for certain.
Well, it's fun to think about, especially when it comes to big endgame stuff like this. I can't help but wonder, will Problem Sleuth beat the odds and escape from the fray with his life? Or will he meet his demise in a final act of comeuppance? Like, for real this time, I can only tolerate so many fake-out deaths in any given story.
There's no way to know for certain, but I'm fairly confident in the fact that he will not make it out of the next update alive.
You can't just say he's gonna die! What makes you so sure?
I can just tell.
You can just tell? I think you might be underestimating PS. He's got quite a bit going on in his favor. He's just as stacked against the odds as they are against him. You know what I mean.
Physical strength isn't a factor when it comes time for the author to hunker down and offer modest selection of characters. Every good story needs an apogee, and what better culmination is there than an anguish-filled finale? Besides, could you really see our hussy going with any other option? He's far too conniving.
I think you might be reading a different comic than I am.
I can assure you this comic is written by a devilish schemer. It's plainly obvious to see that he's intentionally imbued the comic with an inherent sense of desolation in the face of an otherwise whimsical and happy-go-lucky backdrop.
You're doing the rambling thing again.
Oh, sorry. What I meant was that comic has darker undertones for what is at first glance a lighthearted story. The main character, having made terrible mistakes that cost him many an acolyte, and dealt some irrevocable damage in his past, finally gets some just desserts in the form of a visit from the almighty Death himself. And when Death knocks on your door, you sure as heck should answer.
Well then, I can't deny that it's a pretty common trope in fiction. But I think that the Problem Sleuth might be the exception. This could be his chance at redemption. He defeats the bad guy and is redeemed for his crimes. Boom! He gets the girl and rides off into the sunset with his trusty flask and gun.
Why go with redemption when you can go with retribution? It's hard to argue that it crafts a much more compelling tale. After all, how else will Pickle Inspector get the justice he deserves?
Poor Pickle Inspector.
I'd argue Death is just as effective in wrapping up an arc as a happily ever after. Perhaps more so. The main character gets released from their burdens, and the wrong gets the justice they so deserve. Everyone comes out satisfied, and yes, poor Pickle Inspector indeed.
Maybe it'll show him watching from the afterlife. He sheds a single tear of liquid admiration and vanishes into the ether, satisfied that justice has been done.
And then, I'm assuming they ride off into the sunset of the afterlife together? Chelsea style?
No! You're thinking of Problem Sleuth and the hysterical dame.
Oh dear, I apologize. Forgive me for my terrible misinterpretation. Grim forbid Pickle Inspector get a happy ending, and pity that the story isn't completed in a satisfying manner. I kid.
You sure do love your bittersweet endings, don't you?
I truly do. Honestly, I believe Hussey enjoys them as well.
But why? It just seems like a downer. And after all he's been through.
It may be a downer, but it's more impactful to me than that. It's about endings, and peace, and facing the inevitable.
But doesn't everyone want a happy ending? So why wouldn't you want to read one? No! What?
Chelsea? Hello? Oh, great.
Huh? Seems like your Wi-Fi just went. You should probably find something to do while it reboots. Contemplate how you reach your books and first aid kit. Duh! Whenever you need them, you obviously just sprout wings and ascend up to the cabinet, encompassing all the grace of an osprey. How else would you reach them? Not really, though. That would just be silly. You just capture log them when you need to. Gaze out of the window wistfully. The premature termination of your friendly repartee with a fellow citador has left you discontent. Not even the bustling city sprawled out before you is able to provide a reprieve from your frazzled nerves. You wonder, was your sudden expulsion from the internet a condemning occurrence? A misfortune dealt by the cruel hand of your lackluster internet service provider? Or maybe the opposite. Might the severance have been a liberation from a fate worse than death? A fate of mindlessly clicking link after link? Eyes glazed as you absorb the drivel cascading down the screen before you, reduced to little more than livestock roaming a virtual pasture. No longer tethered by the seductive yet poisonous lure of the World Wide Web, you can't help but ponder, has this entire ordeal have been a cosmic trial? A reminder of the brevity inherent within this mortal coil sent from the universe itself? You suppose that causality has plans of its own. You can only hope to forge your own destiny now. Life is what you make of it, after all. And you can do whatever you set your mind to, as long as it doesn't involve the internet. Rip up your sister's notes in an act of rebellion. Yeah, you're the master of your own destiny. It's time to take a stand against her tyranny. Next. Hold up. There seems to be something actually relevant written on this one. Next. Well, you guess you should clean up the arrows for, like, safety or whatever. Maybe then you can get your Wi-Fi back. Chelsea, be horse shirt magoo. That's a good idea. It's gonna take a while to clean up all these arrows. It might be best to check on everyone to help pass the time. Well, it looks like nobody's doing anything even remotely interesting. Wow, is that horseshoe dude still going? Impressive. Next, you decide to stick with Chelsea. It seems that she's done cleaning anyway. Chelsea, make out with posters. Make sure no one is looking first. You caress the Adam Levine poster, kneading your fingers through the caresses and tracing a path over the contours of the glossy finish. Oh, how your art aches to meet this hottie in the flesh. Yet, even as your infatuation grows, the lifeless eyes of the phony Adam mocks you so. You're almost desperate enough to kiss the poster, but that might ruin the poster. You decide not to kiss the poster. Chelsea, stick arrows in mouth, become the arrow walrus. You've considered doing a lot of stupid things before, but this idea takes the cake. Chelsea, go explore the house. Good idea. Finding your sis and asking her directly is probably the fastest way to get your Wi-Fi back. Onwards to adventure! Chelsea, venture forth. Well, there goes the whole explore the house idea. You won't make it very far with all these creepy mannequins your sister has scattered around the place. You think she means for them to act as surrogate parental figures to make up for all the time she's at work, in class, otherwise occupied, but more often than not, they just end up creeping you out beyond all belief. You suppose you can pave your way directly to the router if you can make it past the lurking effigies. As long as you can swallow your fears, you can fix the Wi-Fi yourself and leave a note telling your sister to nix the creepy plaster people. If the odds are in your favor, it'll be her first day off in who knows how long, and you can register your complaints in person. Chelsea, get back what was taken from you. You push aside the looming doppelganger and continue down the winding halls. Without much ado, you arrive at the sequestered sanctum of the Wi-Fi thief herself. You hesitate to knock, wary of the diabolical array of mannequin-themed traps and pitfalls she surely said, as to prevent you from rebooting the router manually. Your only other option is to permeate her defenses, employing each and every one of the extensively rehearsed and exceedingly dexterous stealth maneuvers under your belt. These next few moments will require a nigh inhuman precision, but you've been training your whole life for the mission to come. Next. What could possibly go wrong? Next. This seems like the perfect time to introduce somebody else. It's doubtful that you have the constitution to wait around and discover Chelsea's fate firsthand. Now then, who's this guy?
Guy, introduce self. Your name is Sev Erkin Evans, and at the moment, you are bored out of your skull. None of your favourite anime series have released new episodes, and despite the towering pile of shows making your plan to watch list, you're simply not in the mood regardless. You are currently anticipating the final update of a webcomic you adore, but who knows when that's gonna drop. Normally at this point you would chat with one of your Reddit friends, but they all appear to be offline, otherwise occupied at the moment. There's no guarantee anyone would bother responding anyway, seeing as a large majority of them seem to tolerate you at best. You're not sure if this is because of your excessively morbid jokes, or your occasionally explosive temper, but you figure it's quite likely a mixture of both. Personally, you find these traits to be quirky and endearing, though the people you talk to tend to disagree. You feel that by nature humans are overly judgmental, and as a result, you don't talk to many people at all. What should you do to combat your crippling ennui? Sev, examine table with the book and the jar things beside it. On the table is the monolithic Tome of Anger Management, as well as annotations detailing a few sections you found to be particularly noteworthy. You bought it in the hopes that it would help to keep your unbridled rage in check, but from what you've read, it mostly just drones on about how to distribute your anger more efficiently, which only serves to anger you more. Someday you hope to understand these long passages about hedgehogs and their dilemmas. Contained within the jars... Hold up, what is within these jars? You've had them sitting here for so long that the nature of the mystifying secrets buried within has skipped your mind entirely. Maybe this is for the best. Sev, roll up a poster and equip that. The blade kind specibus is overrated. Oh, please. The poster kind specibus is reserved for short-sighted plebeians. You've chosen the superior art of the Ronin kind specibus, which is an essential step in your training to become the ultimate warrior. For as long as you can remember, you've dreamed of becoming on par with the samurai of old, reserving your spot in the history books as you perform one heroic deed after the next. There was a time when you thought that all it took to become a fierce, battle-ready combatant was to purchase a kimono in Casa and flaunt them around town. Unfortunately, you discovered the error of your ways when your prop katana was confiscated by a local policeman. Sev, make a wish and become a magical girl. You've already formulated a plan to outsmart the iniquitous fiend that you're sure will try to swindle you. You've hitherto handpicked a collection of countermeasures from a vast array of r/anime discussion threads. Firstly, you'd hire a crack team of professional lawyers to comb through the contract and weed out any unsavory terms. You'd enforce severe ramifications of the slightest sign of a contract breach, taking into heavy consideration the 1969 Vienna Convention Art Rules 31 to 33. Secondly, you'd milk the wish for all it's worth, twisting each of the terms in your favor and generally reading between the lines for context that was never there to begin with. At this point, you'll be able to weasel your way up into eternal life, infinite power, teleportation, a sweet get-up, and if you're willing to push your luck, perhaps a few extra wishes. Lastly, with this bubbling, cackling cauldron of potential at your fingertips, you'd be allowed to devise a plan to take the malevolent mastermind's throne and humbly assert yourself as the grand emperor god of the universe, where you would rule the rest of humanity with a firm but loving hand for millennia before being assassinated by your most trusted advisor who'd grown bitter with the stagnation of the kingdom expansion. Or you could just not make a wish. Yeah, you think you'll do that instead. Sev, retrieve body pillow to reveal waifu. You own no such thing. You wouldn't dare sully the sanctity of the female form with the likes of a mere mockery. You're totally content to lie alone for the remainder of your days, free of the burden that is legitimate human compassion. Besides, the proper term is Dakimakura. Sev, browse /A on 4chan. For the sake of keeping your anger in check, you decide that venturing into the bowels of the internet might not be the best idea. Last time you visited, you accidentally started a militant shitposting campaign that stretched on for several weeks, and generally left a bad taste in the collective mouths of everyone involved. As long as you can avoid a certain image board, however, you might find some reprieve from your incessant boredom on the computer. Let's just hope you can keep your nigh uncontrollable blood pressure, well, controlled. Sev, be the girl that we don't know the name of. Yes, what a splendid idea. Now would be the perfect time to drop this anime geek and... Oh, what's this? It looks as if someone just logged in to set it. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to stay with good old Sev for a little while longer. Sev, analyze door. Ah yes, the entering apparatus. Etched upon it is the symbol of Seal from Neon Genesis Evangelion, an anime which is widely considered to be among the classics. Sure, it might be wont to ensnare you in a loop of disquieting existential inquiry, but its groundbreaking portrayal of human psychology is something you've grown to appreciate. In any case, you should really get to checking Sedit. Sev, respond in a perfectly normal and incredibly calm way. You ready the tome of anger management and flip down to the section about making friends. You've got this down to a science.
Whoops, that wasn't the right button. Oh shit.
Oh, hello there. What do you like to drink? Wait a moment, it seems I had the wrong page there. How was your weekend?
What day is it again?
I'm pretty sure we're in the weekend right now.
Then it's going pretty alright, I think.
Hey, how about a joke? They're always good to spice up a conversation.
Sure.
Why don't cannibals eat clowns?
What?
Because they taste funny.
Oh, I get it.
That's it? That's the reaction I get? Do you know how long it took me to come up with that joke?
Man, I just woke up from the gnarliest Dorito coma of my life, and I've got a wicked tummy ache to boot. All I wanted to do was order myself a nice post-coma pizza with all the fixins. The fixins are smaller pizzas. But your Sedit profile got all up in my business, and next thing I know I've been roped into your waggly fest of a conversation. So sorry if I'm not exactly receptive to your lame-ass quips.
Hey, what's your issue? That was the best joke you'll hear all year.
Let me rephrase. That joke would have gone great with any other audience, but I've become numb to your normal, regular person humour. At this point, I've been thoroughly desensitized to that brand of comedy in general. It's like, all memes are jokes, but not all jokes are worthy of being considered memes. Sort of a squares and rectangles type deal, you feel me?
Oh. I see. I see how it is. You know what? Forget you! Your wannabe pothead shtick does not make you better at humour than me, and it certainly doesn't make you a better person. If you think your sorry excuses for memes are in any way superior to my sophisticated and well-developed comedic stylings, well, you are clearly in the wrong. And if you believe for 1 second that I'm gonna sit back and watch as you utterly annihilate my particular flavour of jocularity, you've got another thing coming. You should know that I'm not one to back down from a challenge.
Going shaggy dog style, I see. Classic maneuver. But wait, stop the presses. What might this be? It seems, upon closer examination, I'm able to say with relative confidence that somewhere within this long-winded spiel of yours, there exists an actual punchline. I just gotta look really closely. Nope, still not seeing it. You really gotta work on your delivery, dude.
Okay, listen. I'm going to be the better man here and offer you some advice. You're obviously projecting your insecurities onto me, conveying them through this half-hearted, low-effort brand of internet trolling you've come to favour. I've met my fair share of self-righteous douchebags online, and you're no exception. Really, I feel sorry for you. You're so wrapped up in your own twisted view of the world that you can't see the forest for the trees. But you don't fool me for a second. All these years of feigning adequacy have left you but a shell of your former self, incapable of revealing your true colours and barred from ever exhibiting a shred of human decency to those around you. That's what memes are to you, aren't they? Something to hide behind.
Can't disagree with you there, bro. In the right mindset, memes can act as surrogate emotions to replace all those icky feelings you got rattling around your skull. That way you can save the effort you might have exerted and use it instead to come up with brand new memes. Plus the cycle continues. It's a win-win, really. I'm glad I found someone who understands this as well as I do.
Oh, I know this tactic. Trying to play ignorant, huh? Well, Mr. Funny Man, not all of us can spew banter at the drop of a hat. Maybe some people would prefer a pleasant conversation in the company of friends. Have you considered that, Mr. Hotshot Comedian?
Oh man, back it up. Is that a reference to that one cartoon? You know, the foreign one?
Huh?
Because I've only seen like 3 episodes, so no spoilers.
Oh, wait a moment. 3 episodes of what exactly?
That Chinese cartoon that everyone's always raving about. The name's on the tip of my tongue. Pretty sure it's called... anime? Yeah, that sounds right. I looked it up and taunted a few episodes a while back. It was alright, I guess. Not sure what the big deal is.
Please, stop twisting the knife. Surely you've watched something at this point, and don't say anime again.
I'm not sure what you want from me, man. Do you not like anime?
Obviously I like anime.
Really? Couldn't tell.
Oh my god. What did I do to deserve this? Shame on me for expecting an intellectual conversation, I guess. I would follow this book's advice and go blow off steam somewhere, but for your information, I'm currently trapped in my room.
Trapped in your room? Is this the setup for another joke?
Unfortunately, it's no joke. There's a pile of biking accessories up to my neck outside my bedroom door, courtesy of my uncle. I'm half expecting a black and white bear to pop up and start ranting about how boned I am. It's strange. It seems the more I turn my nose up at my uncle's childish hobby, the more insistent he is on sharing it with me. Every time I open the door, I'm greeted by a slew of sweaty helmets and tacky leather jackets. It's my own fault for letting it build up so much, really. I'm pretty sure that if I try to leave, I'll be crushed under the weight.
Well, at least you still have internet, so you can still talk with your good pal, me, but not about anime, because that seems to be a touchy subject.
The hell? We've been arguing this whole time! Why would I still want to talk to you?
I don't see it as argument. It's more like casual debate.
Whatever.
Also, I'm pretty sure we're not actually disagreeing about anything. We both like anime, we both like memes, and we're both trapped in our rooms. Though in my case it's more of a metaphorical confinement, because there's no way I'll be able to move from this spot without blowing chunks all over my nice red shirt. But anyway, we're basically best buds already.
Some best bud you are! Congratulations, you bring out the worst in me! Just like any good friend should. You know what? I'll contact the publisher of this book and tell them to put you smack dab on the cover.
Truthfully, I'm not sure you should be listening to books for life advice. In my experience, they're full of lies and deceit. You should use the internet instead.
I've, tried that.
And?
Turns out that anonymous image boards aren't always the most sympathetic to your social plights. Who would have guessed?
I wouldn't have.
In any case, I'd rather not confide in someone who honestly believes memes are a quality source of entertainment.
Whoa there, friend. No one said anything about quality. Quantity is where it's at. You see, you can only have so much of any other form of media. Books and pictures and videos are all bogged down by the arbitrary limitations of conventional existence. There's an infinite amount of memes, and by extension, an infinite amount of good memes. Accounting for dynamic variation within the striking number of active meme communities, you're pretty much guaranteed to find yourself marooned on the shores of Math Island, adrift in the middle of the sea of memes.
I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop to this line of reasoning. Your mind is clouded with delusions, and yet you refuse to realize you have a problem.
Except delusions aren't real, and the last time I checked, memes are definitely real. Hello? Buddy, you still there? I wasn't sure at first, but you've convinced me. I think I'll give anime another shot. Let's chat more about it when I finish anime.
You're not sure why you put up with that guy. It could be that you treasure every second you spend in the company of other people, grateful for any escape from your shut-in lifestyle. Or maybe you're just bored. Regardless, you could use something to calm yourself down after that encounter. Sev, capture log cassette tapes. You capture log your anti-stress music cassettes. You often take advantage of these soothing tunes when the pressures of life become too much to bear. With the help of these tranquil melodies, you feel almost as if you could leave the world behind you. Sev, play that shit. You feel relaxed.
Sev, for the love of God, just be the girl ready! You do this. You take a minute to collect yourself. It appears that this assault was not the work of a rogue mannequin bent on the destruction of mankind, as you initially assumed. As it turns out, you've been made prey by none other than your regular human sister. At a glance, she seems more than ecstatic at the successful execution of her carefully planned, assiduously construed, terribly tricky tackle trap. Truth is, you find her expression to be largely indecipherable at the best of times. She stares at you expectantly. You ask her if she would be so kind as to return the Wi-Fi. Sis points out, despite repeated warnings, you failed to complete the distressingly straightforward task she had so humbly requested of you. Instead, resolving to sit idly as a myriad of barbed projectiles enjoy a continued hazardous existence of pointless and disarray. You stutter for a moment before explaining you were chatting with a friend with whom you'd very much like to touch base with as soon as possible. Her eyebrow raises. She asks if by any chance you were talking to a boy? Chelsea, accept your fate. You mumble something in the vein of, it might have been a boy, maybe, I don't know. She asks if you got a crush. You tell her that this particular boy happens to be a total dork and assures her that any romantic inclination is, entirely out of the question. She tells you to stop lying to yourself. You calmly tell her that getting the Wi-Fi back would be very nice. She laughs and wanders off, muttering something about all those mannequins she's gonna need to move back to her room. You assume that's the signal to go back and test out the Wi-Fi connection? Chelsea, put Eros back down in an act of rebellion. Now that you've returned to your room, the obvious course of action would be to make the redundant the fruits of your labor by filling your room once more with the comforting presence of the barbed projectiles. Surely, nothing could distract you from this valiant task of which you are about to undertake at this very moment, without further delay. Nothing at all. Nothing save for an update from a certain webcomic, that is, but everyone knows that's never gonna drop.
An aged satellite floats listlessly through the void of space. Though it was launched into orbit some time ago by an up-and-coming network provider, only today will it finally transmit a certain well-anticipated string of data down to the art. What might the content of this particularly consequential transmission be, you ask? You'll just have to wait and find out. Begin. Load.